Welcome to the channel. This is day 22 of a 30-day yoga challenge, but if you're new here, that's cool. This video is for you. Feel free to dive in at any point in this yoga challenge. Today we're going to be focusing on using yoga to work with our low moods. And earlier in this yoga series, we actually did a video specifically about working with depression, but I want to be clear. Anybody can have a low mood. You don't need to be diagnosed as depressed. And feeling low, having low moods is a completely normal evolutionary response of who we are as a species. So this yoga practice isn't designed to make you happy all the time and just feeling good. Instead, what we want to focus on is learning how to be good at feeling the stuff that shows up for us so that it isn't in control. When we have a low mood, we can be the ones who acknowledge that maybe our bodies need to conserve some energy, maybe we need some downtime. Maybe it's totally healthy for you to spend the day in bed, play some video games, read a book, and chug on a big bottle of water. Whatever works for you. But that's the idea here, is that this yoga practice is about you learning how to slow into your experience so that you focus on what's working for you, rather than letting some of the painful stuff that happens between your ears, behind your eyes, govern your behavior. All right, I'm excited for our challenge, day 22 of 30. Let's get this one started. Let's come to standing. From standing, let's go ahead and bring your feet hips width apart. So again, remembering that you can have your toes touching together and then start to inch the feet out. Start to notice where tension comes into your body. You don't want your stance wide-legged. You want your legs nice and close, stacked underneath your hips. Finding some length through the spine. Standing tall, maybe even adopting a mountain posture here. Inhale to press through the crown of your head. Exhale to tuck the chin. Broaden through the chest, really opening up, feeling the chest open, but without bending forward too far, without tilting that bowl and spilling water from the pelvis. Maybe spread your toes. Find your balance here. Using a chair, a table, or a wall if necessary to support your body. I'm going to invite you to lift both arms up above your head. And as you lift your arms up, you may wish to lift your gaze, but notice how that impacts your balance. And see if you can stay with your spine tall in lifting your gaze. You may have a natural tendency to lift your head all the way up, and then all of a sudden you start leaning back. See if you can just lift your gaze through your eyes, and then maybe just a little bit through lifting through your neck. Your chin follows up a little bit. And for me, where my arms are at right now, I'm feeling comfortable having my arms wide, but you may wish to bring your arms in, your hands come together, and just notice how that impacts your shoulders, your trapezoids, even your breathing. Maybe it becomes harder to breathe as your hands come together overhead. And whether your hands are wide or your hands are together, press through your fingers, lifting your gaze, leaning back ever so slightly. And only leaning back to the point where your upper body leans back. If you start to notice your knees or your hips getting involved, come back forward. Still with the gaze lifted, feeling your balance here. And if you're unable to keep both arms up, you may wish to keep one arm down with a hand on the back of a chair or on a table or on a wall for some balance. Just allowing yourself, in whatever iteration is possible for you, to have a brief standing back bend. Maybe wiggle those toes. Remind yourself, hey, I've got toes today. Maybe noticing your gratitude for the balance that your feet bring you, for the experience of proprioception we have through our feet. Inhale, reach a little further. Exhale, bringing the arms forward, followed by the gaze, bringing the hands back down. Let's end with our hands at heart center here. Take a breath, notice what it feels like to finish off this standing back bend. Take one last breath here on purpose. Breathe all the way in. Really feel the breath move in the body. And still with the feet hips width apart, I'm going to invite you to hinge at your hips, folding forward. You may wish to bring the arms out wide, protecting the back. You may need to move away from the wall or slide your hand down the wall or move the chair. And without any need to maintain some length through the legs, you may wish to bring some bending into the knees, just allowing your upper body to drape over your thighs, really leaning forward into the standing forward fold. And letting the arms hang low. Noticing if there's any tension on the back, and if so, bring a deeper bend into the knees. Maybe lifting out of this forward fold a little bit. Possibly grabbing opposite elbows. And just wagging back and forth a little bit. And notice how your breathing has changed in this standing forward fold. Notice where you feel any pull on any muscles or any strain on your system here in this pose. Now, releasing the arms, if you've grabbed opposite elbows, maybe reaching the fingers down to the ground. And if you have long arms like I do, you might be able to reach the ground. And if not, it might not be your day today. Today, I'm not feeling particularly limber, so I'm actually gonna place the palms of my hands onto my shins. Let's begin to lift up, nice and slow, coming all the way up, back into our standing mountain pose. As we exhale, let's bring your hands down onto the ground, spreading wide through the fingers. We really want to protect the wrists here. Pressing the hands down into the ground. With the fingers spread wide, let's bend nice and deep through the knees so you can get your hands planted flat onto the ground. And gently beginning to step the feet back, maybe tiptoeing or maybe taking slightly larger steps, but don't go too far. Stepping the feet back so that your feet are planted on the ground and your heels don't need to be touching the ground, but we also don't want you up on your tippy toes. So the balls of your feet here are planted into the ground. Your toes are on the ground as you step back, but your heels don't necessarily need to be touching the ground. The hands are planted both on the ground, fingers spread to protect your wrists, and still with a nice deep bend in the knees here. Maybe pedal through your heels. Maybe bending through alternate knees, really exaggerating that bend, wagging the hips back and forth. Even experimenting here with the musculature of your arms, maybe even rolling the arms so that the eyes of the elbows face out, and then experimenting with how it affects your shoulders when you roll the arms back in. But we don't need to have a static downward dog here. We're just experimenting with down dog, bringing some motion into your body. Breathing here, slowing your downward facing dog down, noticing what it's like to be in this posture. From your downward facing dog, let's go ahead, let's press back all the way into our first child's pose of this practice. So lowering down, bending at the knees, and go ahead, take a nice deep, wide-legged child's pose, knees out nice and wide, so you can rest your torso, your upper body, reach through your arms, take a breath on purpose, find some relaxation here. If you wish, drawing your arms parallel to the body, breathing through the nose. Reaching the hands forward, spreading wide through the fingers, nice and wide to protect the wrists. Let's go ahead and tuck the toes. Begin to peel those hips up off the heels, pressing back into a downward facing dog. Bringing some movement into your down dog if need be, or finding some stillness, whatever's working for you today. Remember, the point of the posture isn't to have your feet flat on the ground, it's to have a nice long spine. You may need to bring a deep bend into the knees, whatever works for your body. Make this practice work for you. All right, here comes our fun transition. Whether you press forward into a plank or drop down onto your knees, however you do it, I want you to find a plank posture that works for you. And go ahead, bend at those elbows, dropping the chest down towards the ground. And bringing the gaze forward, we're going to transition into our first upward facing dog. So if you're using the knees for your chaturanga, for your push-up here, you're going to have to go ahead and extend the legs out. The palms of the tops of the feet go flat onto the mat as you lift your gaze up. Breathing here, noticing what it's like to be in this posture. We'll come back onto our backs now. With the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor, you're going to want to remove any blankets or towels that are supporting your body. Go ahead and find yourself with your palms facing down and just stepping the feet back ever so slightly so that the feet are only a hip's width apart and the feet don't need to be pressing right up against the buttocks, but you want to step the feet in ever so slightly. With the knees bent, laying flat on your back, let's go ahead and check in with our neck, make sure that we're protecting the neck here. So you may want to just lift your head up, lengthen through your neck, then place the head back down. With the palms flat down on the ground, beginning with the pelvis, I'm going to invite you to inhale and begin to lift the body up off the ground, putting weight into your heels. And lifting slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Take the full length of your inhale and your exhale. Once you reach the top of this posture with your body off the mat, notice if there's a place where you go a little too far and you start putting pressure on your neck. If you get there, take some of the pressure off, come back down a little. Taking a full breath here. On your next exhale, come down slowly, dropping vertebrae by vertebrae. Remembering that yoga isn't about simply achieving a posture, it's about the journey of working through the postures, connecting your breath with your movement, and being mindful, being present of how that moves in your body. One more time. Let's engage in this little bit of a back bend here. Pressing into the heels to inhale, lifting the pelvis off the ground, and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae, take the full length of your inhale to lift off of the ground. If it's accessible to you, you may wish to inch the elbows in underneath the body, maybe even interlacing the fingers, pressing down through the forearms and elbows. And notice if that helps give you a little bit more stability or strength to lift through the posture. Or notice if it's an invitation for your mind to be like, yeah, I can really crank myself in here. Just pause and notice what your mind does with this adjustment of playing around with your arms under your body. Breathing here, wiggle the toes. Being thankful for our toes. Wiggle the fingers. On your next exhale, if your fingers are interlaced under your body, moving the hands out from under the body, dropping down vertebrae by vertebrae till you come flat down onto the mat. We're going to get into a supine posture called Shavasana. Here in this Shavasana posture, maybe lift your head up, lengthen through the spine, and then place your head back down on the floor. Allow yourself to feel your body being supported by the earth. And notice any places that you may be carrying tension. A place that I oftentimes carry tension, even though it's not going to help me through a single damn yoga posture, is in my jaw. I notice myself clenching my teeth and tightness in my jaw. So I'm going to consciously, as I'm sharing this practice with you right now, I'm actually going to make an effort to just allow the muscles around my jaw to relax. knowing that it's not going to help me teach you some of these foundational yoga postures today. Allowing your arms to go heavy. If your knees are bent, just allowing your feet to press down into the ground. Allowing any tension to drop out of the shoulders and out of the back. Wherever you find yourself in this Shavasana posture, just find some stillness. Breathe. Be with your body. Notice what it feels like to be in this posture. As we begin to end this practice, pause for a moment and reconnect with what it is that's important to you about doing this yoga challenge. And whatever shows up, my invitation to you is to be present to it. You may wish to maintain this posture for a few minutes after this video ends, but I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for participating in this practice. The light in me acknowledges and bows to the light in you. Namaste. I'd like to finish by saying thank you so much for sharing your energy with me on this practice today, being a part of this yoga challenge. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's super reinforcing to me, makes me want to make more of these videos. Hit subscribe and the bell icon to keep updated on these videos so that you don't miss any of them. And definitely share this with people in your world, because you never know who's going to benefit from this 30-day yoga challenge. Thank you so much. Namaste.